Uh, of course, that's not it, right? So, putting the backdrop back up here. I turn the volume down. And here we go. So, of course, that's not it, right? You thought otherwise? Anyway, so now what was I thinking? Because I was just reflecting on what I was talking about, and it kind of got me thinking. What was I thinking? Oh, okay. So, what it is that? So one way to look at what I'm talking about is a person that just glitched the fuck out. Like, that just glitched out big time, okay? Now, this is a phenomena that we've been witnessing more and more, and it's been increasing more and more in the last couple of years, where a person just glitches out. And then there's these lots of different theories that circulate around the internet. You know, some think it has to do with the jibby jabbers, and you know, whatever. Could be the 5Gs, a combination of things, like, but that there's this kind of thing that's circulating around about people that are just mysteriously glitching the fuck out. Okay. And so that's kind of what I'm talking about when I'm talking about this person. And then I can go into, you know, like I've seen a lot of crazy fucking shit in my life, dude. I mean, you know, it's not even arguable. The kind of shit, the shit that I've seen in my life is shit that your average person will never fucking see ever. And I have seen a lot of crazy shit, and I have never seen anything this crazy. You know, like, the only way to describe it is like demon possession. Or, you know, a formaldehyde face. I don't know how to explain it. It's the craziest thing. But so anyways, so that's what, you know, this is kind of one of these stories where we hear about people, especially more and more in the last couple of years, about people just glitching the fuck out, like people that you know and stuff, and they just flip the fuck out randomly, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, just out of the blue. They just are turned into a completely different person, like they're demon possessed or something. And so, you know, that's what this is about, you know. But this is an isolated incident for me. This is like this thing, and it just happened 2 years ago, you know, which is, I mean, I don't know, take that for what it's worth. I'm not seeing a lot of people glitching out as much as this fucking bitch did. And it was completely out of character for her, because she's the most soft-spoken, you know, meek, quiet, shy person I've ever met in my life. And for her to overnight go from that to this, like, you know, witch, and just like totally just go completely insane overnight. It's really I don't think this is a rare occurrence, you know. But I think it's similar to these stories that are starting to circulate in the last couple of years of people just completely glitching out. And again, they can fucking reference the jibby jib jabby jabs or whatever, or you know, or connect it to 5G and who knows what all else, witches, fucking Illuminati, demon possession, all this shit. Like, this is what it is, you know. And it's one thing for me to just passively, consume this media where people talk about it. It's really quite another thing to experience it to where I barely escape with my life. And that is not an exaggeration, man. I barely escaped all this with my life, and I could potentially have a target on me, on my back, that's going to follow me for who knows how long. I mean, this is, so I don't know what to, I don't know how to address any audience who might be, disappointed or somehow, unpleased with my, my channel and my videos. Or I just don't think this is something that is happening to people. But my theory is it's going to start increasing a lot. Because, and one of the reasons is, I'm one of the most least likely people to have something like that happen. Dude, how many people do you know? Let me ask you a question. How many people do you know that have been abstinent from all drugs and alcohol for 23 years? I bet you can't even count the amount of people you know that like that on one fucking hand. On one fucking hand. See, it's people that mess around with drugs and alcohol that end up in situations like that. I'm the most, in comparison to somebody who does drugs and alcohol, I'm the most boringest motherfucker you'll ever meet. You won't want to hang around me because I don't drink or do drugs. I don't even smoke weed. I don't do nothing. So you wouldn't want to hang out with me. How are you going to relate with me? I don't smoke weed. I don't drink. I don't do nothing. You're more likely to want to hang out with somebody who puffs on a doobie now and then and drinks a couple beers. Those are the typical people you probably prefer to hang out with. See, I don't do any of that. And so why would that attract to me? Why would someone like that attach themselves to me? These types of things are common with people that drink and do drugs, end up getting mixed up with some drug dealer who puts a death threat out on them and burns their fucking home down and is killing people and shit. Like, but I'm the most boringest sons of bitch you'll ever fucking meet, dude. I don't do nothing. I just keep to myself, go to work, pay my fucking bills, and then do crazy fucking, YouTube and BitChute videos. That's it. I mean, I used to play in bands. That was my vice, is I would play in crazy bands and stuff, but I haven't done that for 8 years now or something. So it doesn't make sense that this would happen to me. It just doesn't. I don't draw this kind of people in my life. I keep these kind of people out of my life. I make it a point to not associate with these kind of fucking people. On the other hand, though, I am what you would consider a helper. And so helping people that's what my whole fucking channel was about for 7 years, was advocating for the fucking homeless, constitutional rights for homeless people and shit like this. And I've been doing that since 2008 or 2007 and shit, dude. Like, I've been doing that for fucking a long fucking time. And I've seen a lot of crazy shit, but I've never seen nothing like this, man. And we've been seeing a lot of crazy shit. All of us have since 2016. I mean, some of us even before. But I mean, shit has gotten weirder. You have to admit, shit has started to get weird. I remember when Trump got elected in 2016, I started laughing because I didn't think he'd get it. So when he did, I started laughing. I'm thinking, okay, what's next? Fucking UFOs? Well, sure enough. Then I'm seeing UFOs and shit. If you're really truly honest with yourself, you have to admit the veil is getting lifted more and more since 2016, and it's just gonna get weirder. Things are gonna get stranger. And I'm not alone. A lot of people are admitting this. All the different shit, strange phenomena that we see on a daily basis and stuff. It's just gotten weird. Lockdowns, all this shit, So yeah, conspiracy theorists are being proven right all the time now. I mean, that it wasn't that long ago when conspiracy theorists were just tinfoil hat jokes, and now they're more taken more seriously than than the trusted media sources we've all come to know and love. And this incident with this chick is a major fucking deal to me, man. Like, when it happened, I remember sitting like a week after the fire happened, and I was sitting, it was late at night, and I was sitting on a bench just staring off into space, just thinking about all this. And all I could see is a vision of a fucking nuclear fucking bomb going off in the distance somewhere, and thinking, man, that's what's coming. That's what's next. I mean, when people are flipping out this bad, like people that you've come to know as just like super calm, super quiet, super, soft spoken and everything else, and they turn out to be like the fucking just totally most insane people in the whole you've ever seen. Demon possessed with fire and murder and, and all shit fucking. I mean, it really makes you kind of start questioning everything more. But yeah, it really could be. I also wanted to go into this, that it really could be that she is some kind of victim of MK Ultra mind control mixed with gang stalking. That like most of her life has been extreme forms of childhood abuse into she might have been, her parents might have been fucking pure fucking satanic Freemasons. And so from her earliest childhood, she was being abused extremely, and and then just turned into like one of those sex kittens or whatever by her parents, and MK Ultra mind controlled and MK Ultra mind fucked all up through her life, and gang stalked by, and that's been her whole life. And I'm telling you, like, especially when we got together, when we first started living together, and I started really, living with her, because then I got to know her a lot more personally, and I'm thinking, I can't help but be thinking that her fucking husband, the father of her children, was doing some really extreme and fucked up like experimentation on her, using DMT and all this other stuff to turn her into a brainwashed zombie, his own personal brainwashed zombie slave. I was literally thinking, like, wondering if he was drilling fucking holes in her head like Jeffrey Dahmer was with his. Jeffrey Dahmer's whole fucking thing is to turn a human being into his own personal slave, and that's why he was drilling holes into these guys' heads. He wasn't trying to kill him, he was trying to turn him into zombie slaves that he could just, and I'm telling you, that's how fucking insane all this was with her and her husband. Like, so there was all this shit, so, and then see, that's the other thing I really need to keep in mind. I have to be critical of myself, and that is one of only 3 things that it could be, is that she literally is one of these fucking MK Ultra zombie fucking sex kitten zombie slaves that has been completely taken over by Freemason fucking gang stalking fucking Satanists and shit from an early age, and that was her whole life, has only ever been only that, because that's the but that's crazy. Like, these are the things that would explain it. Well, yeah, what else is there, there's just there, and so I never got any closure from any of this. Like, it all happened, and I never got any closure at all. Like, no explanation at all whatsoever, nothing. So, anyways, so, there's so much to go over. There's so much to go over with the fine-tooth comb on this for me. And, I wanted to say another thing. I wanted to go back to the story that Call for an Uprising covered that self-proclaimed witch gal, the young self-proclaimed witch gal that it was in the news. It happened in October. I believe it even was October 13th, believe it or not. So, where this fucking self-proclaimed witch killed her mom and chopped her body and put the body parts in the oven, okay? And it was on the news and everything. And she was Illuminati. She's all about the Illuminati. All this shit, like fucking. Anyways, think of it this way. Let's say this girl was conspiring and working on killing her mother, and somehow her mother escaped without anything. And all that really happened was the fire burned her place down. She got a mysterious fucking death threat phone call, and there was some dead body in the area that was attached to her daughter and her daughter's friends. But there was all this mystery shrouding the dead body. They were, rumors around town was that he was murdered. But then the so-called official story was he committed suicide. And the mother knew that her daughter was friends with that person and all these other friends. And she had a pretty good idea that her daughter was mixed in with witchcraft and this and that. And then the mother, notices the daughter is acting strange a lot more. And the mother confronts the daughter about the dead guy. And then, and then the mother fucking talks to other people in town and finds out that there's a lot of evidence that this guy was murdered, even though her daughter is saying it was a suicide. And this just starts to snowball for the mother. And so instead of her getting murdered and cut up and thrown into an oven to be cooked, this is her story. Her story is my story, where all this is happening and she's not really sure, but it all looks very suspicious. And even though she loves her daughter's acting crazy, and there's a dead body involved, and now there's rumor that her daughter is under investigation. But then the police public statement is that this is all rumor, that none of it's true, even though she knows some of it's true because her daughter already confided and said, yes, that was my friend's dead body they found, right? And so she's seeing all these clues and all this stuff, and then her fucking daughter one day just totally flips the fuck out and starts mumbling spells and acting way totally completely out of character, and the mother's totally tripping out, and then the daughter just goes and disappears to go disappears to go hang out with her witchcraft friends. And then the mother gets a strange phone call that is basically a veiled death threat, telling the mother that if she doesn't do the bidding of the caller, then she's going to be the next person they find dead out in the area. And so, and all this just keeps snowballing, and to the point where she has to go out of town. And then she's out of town for a week, and then she gets the phone call that her entire house is burnt to the ground, along with all kinds of other shit. Everything just is gone up in flames. And this is the mother, okay. So the mother barely escapes with her life. So instead of her getting her body cut up, she gets murdered and cut up and put, what if she just barely escaped with her life, and she had all this information that her daughter was involved in, that she knew her daughter burned the place down. She suspects that her daughter is involved in a murder, and that her daughter put out a death threat fucking call out on her, and all this other shit. She found BDSM bondage straps and fucking witchcraft apparel and all this shit, and so the mother has all this overwhelming amount of evidence that her daughter tried to kill her, but only the mother survived instead of getting murdered, and the mother survived it. Instead of getting murdered by her daughter and cut up and put into an oven, she's able to escape. Imagine if that mother had escaped. Do you think that anyone would believe her story? Do you think that anyone would take her story seriously? I'm telling you, nobody would. Nobody would. Everybody would say, oh, you just need to calm down. That's your daughter. You're just upset because your daughter fucked you over. You're just traumatized. She didn't burn the house down. Everything is going to be, oh, your daughter didn't do anything. You just need to calm down, blah, 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 right? That would be all that the mother would hear. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So that's my story, is I survived it. I survived getting murdered and my body cut up into pieces and put into a fucking oven. I survived it, and all those people that were conspiring to do it, they all walk free. Nobody got caught, nothing. You see, that's the difference between my story and that witch story that Call for an Uprising covered about the fucking daughter who killed her mother and chopped her mother up and put her mother in the fucking oven to eat her and shit as part of her satanic witch cult ritual and stuff. That's the only difference between my story and that story is I'm like everything that I'm the person that survived getting killed, and all of that shit that happened that tipped me off to survive it as opposed to become a victim of it. And if anybody survives it, nobody is going to believe a story of how some little girl who was part of some witch cult and her plan was to kill the person and drink their blood and do all this satanic ritual with it and everything. Nobody is going to believe that story. And only unless and until the culprit is caught in the act with the fucking chopped up body in front of him and pieces of it in the oven waiting for it to get cooked so they can eat it, then the story's believable. But until it's caught in the act and the act is already done, if a story comes out where I survived something like that, no one is going to believe it for a second. Not for a minute. They're going to look at that girl and say, this girl, she's just some innocent little girl. And, how dare you? You're like trying to hurt this poor girl, spreading rumors that she's a witch and this and that and blah, blah, blah. So anyways, I know I'm fucking rambling, but whatever, man. It's true.